In the Pioneers, this is mjkk613.14. I got you one more time. Unofficial pie through my eyes the way I see it. Bear with me, guys, and ladies and gentlemen, because I'm new to all this. I mean, sitting in front of the camera and talking, I don't have a problem with that. But as far as getting it all organized and keeping it organized and editing and all, it's all new to me. So I'm kind of learning as I go. And I was in trying to, and I will try to respond to everybody's comments, posts, whatever. I will try to respond to all of them. And thank you for watching, and I hope you're getting something out of what I'm putting out. I mean, I'm just here to pass on what I know and maybe help get a little better understanding of Pi and what's going on and where Pi's headed and what its goal is and what it can do. But I was going through the comments just a little while ago, and I addressed a couple of questions, for subscriber, and I hate blowing people's names, so I'm not even going to try. And I addressed the comment at the tail end of another video, and I don't know whether. Anyway, I'm going to address it in this one. The two of the concerns, or two of the questions were, I made, in one of my videos, I made reference to or comment to that it's illegal for Core to have anything to do with Pi price or value. And that was one. And the other one was price fixing. Okay. And in the U.S., the regulations and the laws, as far as trading on the stock exchange, trading, selling of goods and services, mostly goods, okay, that price fixing is where you're controlling the price of a product. And you can influence the price of that product to what benefits you the best or the most. And the United States frowns on that because it's kind of like a monopoly. If you have a monopoly on something, you can set whatever price you want to put on it, and if somebody wants it, they're going to have to pay that price. It's basically what it comes down to. So it gets out of what the free market is supposed to be. Competition draws competition between two industries or two places. Say we both have a store selling kind of basically the same thing, and we're trying to get customers into our store to buy what we have for sale. And what'll happen is, if there's more than one, or there's one or two that are competing, prices will usually come down because we're looking to get traffic in. Well, if I cut my prices to get more traffic in, then you cut yours, and it does reach a point where it levels out. But the competition supposed to keep prices reasonable and fair. When you have no competition, you can set whatever price you want on that product, and if people want it, that's what they got to pay. That's basically price fixing. So you benefit the most from whatever that price is. And like I say, in the U.S., that's frowned on. That doesn't fly. They'll come and they'll put the bracelets on you and haul you off. Yeah. I shouldn't say that, because that kind of crime is a white collar, and they deal with it different. Anyway, so that's kind of price fixing. And right now, I don't know if you've heard of the INFRA, I believe it is. It's a regulating committee for crypto. I don't know what the acronym stands for right now, but it's basically a government agency or part of the government that regulates crypto and how it trades and what it does and all this stuff. And here, as of late, probably I just found out a few weeks ago that right now both of our House and Senate have brought this under scrutiny and are changing amendments in whatever regulation or document that they're using. They're changing some amendments in it to get tighter on the exchanges. I mean, that's where it's focused at, is on the exchanges. And what's brought two of the main factors that have brought this into light is tax evasion and basically price fixing, manipulating the price on the market is what has brought the attention to Congress that has made them act on what's going on. And it's all around, most of it is around Bitcoin. Bitcoin and Ethereum are the two big ones that, they are the two major players in the market right now. And over the last, 3, 4 months, 5 months, something like that, 3, 4 months, there's been a lot of attention brought onto Bitcoin by having big investors, like Elon Musk and Branson and a couple of others, has brought even brought more attention to Bitcoin because of the amount they invested and what they've done and stuff like that. Well, in that with all that transpiring, what came into question, one of the things that came into question was price manipulation. Well, if you have somebody putting in $1.5 billion as an investment into Bitcoin, I'm not knocking Bitcoin, and it is huge and it is doing what it's doing, whatever, but it's not as big as what people think it is. Okay? Even the price that it's demanding, or the price that it's at, it's a high price, no doubt. There's a lot of, but it's all on paper. But there's a lot of price, there's a lot of money to be made off of it. And if you can influence it, the direction you want it to go, you can make even more. And Bitcoin has done that for a long time. What's brought it into the light was these big investors making headlines dumping this amount of money into the project. And somebody dumping that much money, physical money, into a project will be able to influence the price. Guaranteed. Yeah. So that was one of the biggest things. And usually what happens is trading on the exchanges is not for the inexperienced and not for the weak of heart. When you start dealing with that much money and that much influence and that much, it's a wicked game. And people in my position that don't have a lot will probably most likely lose trying to trade in that market, in that arena. Yeah, on any of it. And I watched, and why I say that is I watched the guy that got me into crypto. He tried to get me into Bitcoin way back when Bitcoin was, you could still mine it on a single PC, and you could still earn a lot of Bitcoin from a single PC. It was just about the time that people were starting to figure out that they could hook the computers together, just before the farms came in. And I didn't take the time I had too many other things going on, I just didn't take the time to learn it. But I would watch him. And in those early days of Bitcoin trading, this guy at the time was like 18 or 19. And he's into Bitcoin. He's big into Bitcoin. And I watched him for months. I thought he was going to have a heart attack at 18 or 19. Just watching him deal with the market. Because, and we talk a lot. And it was like, he was telling me that this whale's getting ready to make a move. And this is ready to get make a move. And everybody's lining up and we're going to see which way he's going to go. And then we're going to, okay. And that went on day in, day out, every day. And one minute he'd be smiling and kicking and dancing and having a hoot and out, and the next minute he'd be crying, because that's how volatile Bitcoin was in those early days. You could make and lose. You could make millions and lose millions within 30 minutes. And like I said, I thought he was going to have a heart attack at 18 or 19, and that's when that whole arena kind of set me off because, one, I'm not smart enough, and I don't have the cash to play in that market. That's me. But over time, as things have evolved, have grown, and whatever, the people that are 1% of Bitcoin wallets hold over 90% of what has already been mined or minted or what mined. That 1% holding that much currency, or that much, I don't even want to call it currency, it's a coin. It's a tradable asset, tradable security. I know it's become a legal tender in, I forget the country right now. I know all of that's going on. I know how big Bitcoin is stretched around, and I know where you can buy it at kiosks. I know. And so it isn't that I don't see or I don't understand what's going on with Bitcoin. But when you have 1 or 2% controlling that amount of the coin, they're going to influence it. And my opinion, this is just strictly my opinion, they learned how to do that a long time ago. When Bitcoin first started, it isn't what it is today. I mean, it didn't start out to be what it is today. It started out to be a currency. I mean, it was the original goal of Bitcoin was to be a currency. But when people started realizing they could mine together, they could earn more coin, and at the same time, the ones that hold the coin, the Bitcoin, learned how to play people's emotions. Because, like I say, it only takes one whale to make headline news, and the whole community will line up waiting to see which way he's going to go. And then they'll make their investments on top of it. So you make a little splash, and you get the bigger splash from everybody around you. And crypto has evolved into a trading instrument. That's all it is. It's like crypto is like a stock from a company, but just on a much volatile scale. I mean, the volatility. The people that are trading in crypto, one, they need that volatility. That crypto would not survive if it didn't have that volatility, because you need that volatility to be able to speculate to make money off of it. If it's not moving and swinging and stuff, nobody's making money because it's not doing anything. So it has to do. And in my opinion, this is just how I view it and see it. In the time that it's evolved, they've learned how to make a little splash, but make that little splash big by the people around it. They get it. It's like sharks in a feeding frenzy. And if you're good at crypto trading, you can make money both directions. Yeah. And these guys know how to make money in both directions, and they know how to feed it. They've learned it from the Feds. Feds do the same thing with inflation and deflation. So, and on top of that, then you have a multi-billion dollar industry that is built up around Bitcoin and proof of work. I mean, you have these big chip manufacturers and card manufacturers that have built a $1 billion industry around crypto the way it trades today. And they're not letting go of their hold either. So there's a lot of manipulation and a lot of stuff going on that I don't know whether, I don't know what, but it's just happening. I mean, people are so tied up and so wrapped up into what's happening that I don't think they really see anything or notice anything else. You see it in Pi all the time. Because these same people are coming into Pi, coming in with what they've learned and what they know, what they deal with, and what they've made big money at. Big money. And they come into Pi thinking the same thing. And they haven't taken the time to learn Pi because they don't need to, because they already know. Coming into Pi, they already know. That's where the unreal expectations come from inside of Pi. When people come in, I'm just as guilty when I first signed up of when is Pi going to moon? When are we going to buy Lambos? When are we going to do? When are they going to make us rich overnight? When are they going to? Until I learned Pi. Pi is not that coin. Core is not built that coin. Core is building a currency, and being that Pi's goal is a currency, how things are figured, how things are set, what models are being used, they really don't apply to Pi, especially right now, starting out. And that's where we're at. We are at ground level, ground zero. And even though the community is 25 plus million people, us 25 million plus people are not the public that Pi is launching to. We're not. We are not. Okay? So, I know it makes no sense. And because of what Pi is, because of what Core is building, what we're helping to build, what we're going after. It's different than anything else that's out there. I know. Most people, no, it's crypto, it's got to be this, it's written off seller, it's got to do that. No. If you break down Pi, I mean, for me, what I had to do, when I first got into Pi, I didn't really know a whole lot about crypto. I didn't know a whole lot about much. But I'm the type that when I get involved in something, well, one, reading the white paper the first time struck a passion in me that just wouldn't go away. And when I get involved in something, I want to know what I'm getting involved in. And at the same time I was getting involved in Pi, I got involved in a few other cryptos. And I let all of them go. Yeah. Because they're not, for me, they're not worth it. They weren't worth, like, people come in and say, Pi's a waste of time, and Pi is going to be nothing, Pi's going to be, okay. That's how I feel about the rest of the crypto out there right now. Yes, I have all my eggs in one basket, which isn't a smart thing to do. But understanding what I'm involved in and know what the goal of what I'm involved in and what the benefit is for everybody involved in it, yeah. Right now, it's worth my time. And so I want to know how things work. Also, at the same time, what makes Pi different than Bitcoin? I mean, it was Pi and Bitcoin. What makes Pi different than Bitcoin? What makes Pi special over Bitcoin? I mean, what makes it different? What makes it, what is it? And I learned Pi first. I learned portions of Stellar first so I could understand Pi. Then I took Bitcoin and I laid Pi and Bitcoin next to each other. You lay them next to each other and you pretty much compare apples to apples and see the difference. You will see the difference between Bitcoin and Pi. Big time. Big time. With that in mind, it shows Bitcoin wasn't first. And it will be here for a while. It'll be here a long time. While. Okay? I mean, once the 21 million runs out, I don't know what its future is after that. You know, I mean, I was pretty hardcore. Once 21 million runs out, they're done. But I'm sure they have some. They're working on how to extend it. But I don't know what will happen once the 21 million is gone. Anyway, Bitcoin paved the way, cut the path, did its thing. It opened the door for everything that's come behind it. And what the space has become is anything that's become behind it is going to do what has come before it. Pi isn't following in that path. It's not following that path. It's making its own path to the same place. Mm-hmm. And when you start to realize that, then if that's what Pi is doing, then what things are held to today don't apply, because Pi is going in a different direction. I mean, it's heading in the same direction, but it's going a different route, which means going a different route, different things apply to it, and that's where initially, I mean, once Pi is live, there should be no issue about price fixing or influencing or anything like that because of how Core designed Pi. So it initially and legally, because Core wrote the project, Core holds the most Pi in the project. Core, I mean, everything falls back on Core. If we screw up, it's not our butt, it's theirs. Like when the in-app transfer pilot started. That's a whole issue in itself, but it set the stage for the people that knew crypto to show that Pi is different. And some of us woke up and really, I mean, got into Pi, seen Pi, knowing what Pi, and some of us stayed asleep. my opinion. And those are the two fractions that have been going at it way back since 100,000 people, 100,000 pioneers. And it's still going on today. Now, I am encouraged hearing and seeing and watching what I'm seeing going on in senior pioneer chat or senior chat in the Pi app. Yeah, there's a lot of positives, and people are on the same page. We may have a little bit different, but we're on the same page, which hasn't happened in Pi for a long time, and that's encouraging. That is real encouraging because it's going to take all of us to make Pi a success. It's going to take all of us to do our part to make Pi a success. And as long as there's fractions and everybody's going off in their own direction, I didn't think really Pi really had a chance because we were splitting off in too many different directions, and the majority was off in the direction of the exchanges, and it seems that tide seems to be changing as far as what watching the chats, seeing chats. So starting out, because the buck stops with the core. That's where the buck stops. If anything happens, comes down, whatever, it comes down on core. Because they hold the most coin. Right now they are in control of Pi. They have the say over Pi. All of the any information that is put out in the chat rooms or put out online that didn't come from Core or the Pi app needs to be treated as bad information. Even though there may be sprigs of truth in there, the whole comment needs to be treated as bad information because it's not official. It didn't come from an official source. It didn't come from an official site. If it didn't come from someplace official, then it's not official information. And if it's not official information, it's incorrect information, even if it's right. Even what I say. I mean, I get my information from the app and Core and things. So, I mean, mods are usually up to date. Yes, there are new mods that are still learning and all that, but mods are the next step away from you have Core, mega mods, and mods. So we are the closest in chat to Core when Core is not there, and the information that mods put out should be accurate, should be correct, should be official, because that's where it comes from. But because people believe what they believe, they don't believe. It blows me away. It really blows me away. People will go research off of all these sites that they research. Google, the exchange, Coin app, and whatever exchanges they're on. And they'll go listen to BitTalk, and they'll go listen to this and that and whatever. And they'll come back with the understanding that that's real and official information. When all these other sites haven't investigated Pi. They have, it's not hard to tell who's read anything or learned anything about Pi and who hasn't. It's easy, when you've been it's easy to tell. And all of these speculators and crypto traders and all have not learned Pi. They know crypto, but they don't know Pi. So they come back in and trying to pass off official information or real information that is so. Anything that doesn't come from an official site, treat it as bad information, and then sift through it yourself, or ask questions about it. When people come into the chat and ask questions, we are there. That's what we're there for, to help answer questions, keep things straight. If you ask a question, you will get a different. For me, I can only speak for me. You will get a different tone of response if you're asking a question versus coming in and stating it as fact. Yeah, and we get a lot of them that come in and say it as fact. Getting back to the price fixing. So, since Core is in control of everything, they have the most to gain out of controlling price. And this is where things get a little okay. The only way that anybody can control price on the exchanges is to either dump a bunch of coin on it or pull a bunch of coin off of it. Because that's what exchange trading is. There are X amount of coins that somebody's looking to buy and somebody's looking to sell. And then what comes into account is the amount that's being transferred back and forth, the volume of trading. Then who's holding it, who's selling it, it all plays into the calculations or whatever. But the bottom line is, core can either dump coins on there or probably has enough clout to pull enough coins off, just like a whale. Okay. So that would be price influencing and price fixing. Okay, they can't do it, and why they're able to get away with it in other cryptos, I don't know, because that's exactly what they're doing. When a whale goes for a swim, he's manipulating price. When these big investors dump a bunch of money in, they can influence price. And that's what brought the attention to the government and is bringing about tighter regulations on crypto, on the exchanges, because of that. And because of the way the United States works, when you take crypto and turn it into fiat money, when you take crypto and turn it into dollar bills or rupees or wherever you're from, in the United States, they consider that capital gains. So if you buy Bitcoin low and you sell it high and you make a buku bunch of money, the United States considers that taxable capital gains, and then you pay 40% tax on capital gains. And from what I understand, there's like 3 or 4 classifications of exchanges. And what it comes down to is who regulates and what regulations they are under as far as their classification of exchange. Your top level exchanges, your good exchanges, the ones that are on the up and up playing by and can be trusted, those are under the most scrutinized regulations, overseen, audited, everything. They're being gone over with a fine-tooth comb. Those exchanges by their mandate or their regulation to get their license to be able to be in business, have to report I don't know whether it's on transactions over X amount of money, or if it's every transaction. They have to report it to the government, to their regulating body. They send the government a form, and then at the end of the year, whoever's been trading and whatever, you will get, I forget what the number of the form is, you will get it's kind of like a W-2 form, but it's a different number that has your trades on it, whatever it was, and all your capital gains, okay, and you're responsible for the capital gains at 40%. Then there's another exchange, the next one down, that has to keep records of everything that's going on, but they don't have to report it unless they're asked to report it. If say they all have it on file, and the government comes in and say, "Hey, I want a record on this and this and this," the way they're regulated, they have to give it to them. There's no ifs, ands, no. There's no hiding it. There's no getting rid of it. They have to give it to them. Otherwise, they'll lose their license. Then you have the lower exchange that don't have to keep. They can do whatever they want to do, pretty much. But if you're making capital gains off them, you are still responsible for capital gains. And personally, when I get down into those lower level exchanges, I don't trade on them. I don't trust them. Because there's nothing, one of the biggest things about banking and central banking, the way it is security for all parties making transactions. So that's all it is. They're ensuring that the transaction will happen, and if something does happen, they are ensuring that it'll be made right, and we're paying for that. Every time we go through, and it may be not much, but it's getting to a point that it's getting out of hand. That's what central banking is. Basically, it's just a security between two parties. They are taking They're holding things accountable. So nothing can go wrong. I mean, nothing should go wrong. And if it does, there's a record of it or a track back on it to correct it. That's what central bank. That's the primary function of central bank. Besides making loans and whatever, but as far as individual making transactions, that's kind of where that's at. These lower level exchanges, they're not held accountable to anybody. No, I mean, nobody's really watching. So you could set up a wallet, you could have cash in there, you could have crypto in there, you could have whatever in there. And if one morning you went to go make a trade, they may have packed up and shut the doors and gone with all your stuff. There's no way to recover or reconcile. That's okay. And there are a lot of people trading on those exchanges, and everything's fine, whatever. But there is amount of risk trading on those exchanges. There may be low fees and no fees and whatever. Okay. If you trade on that low, be careful. Research what you get into, and make sure they're at least on the up, somewhat on the up and up. But for what little extra fee might be paying for a reputable exchange, for peace of mind, to me, it's worth that little bit extra. Okay? But if Core is involved in any way, showing that they manipulated or got in and did something to influence the price, it's all bad. I mean, yeah. They could come in and shut the project down. They could take all them off and whatever it is. Yeah. No, it's in the United States, it's a serious deal about price fixing and manipulating prices and stuff. I mean, it's been happening, going on since the turn of the century when they were setting up America and setting up the banking system in America. It's always been that way. But as long if they're doing it, it's cool. If we do it on the outside, it's not cool. This is what the bottom line is. Okay. So that's prices on the exchange. Now, when you start talking value and price are different. Most people say the value of Bitcoin is X amount. And that's not value, that's price. That's price. Value is, and I've just come to a different understanding of how Pi is looking to view its starting value. And it's called intrinsic value. And intrinsic value is value that is created from whatever. Okay? And I had a misconception of intrinsic and what intrinsic value was. My interpretation of what I've learned, what I thought I knew. See, I'm open to new learning too. Not always, anyway. I thought intrinsic value was something that had tangible, feelable value that could be used, like gold or silver or gemstones or whatever. I mean, there's been over the centuries. Going way back, different things have been used as forms of money. It's not just gold, silver, gemstones, whatever. They've used a lot of different things over time as money to do commerce. And if you really want to know money, you've got to go back to the beginning. And you have to go back to the beginning to really understand it, to get where we're at this point. But price, that's not price. Intrinsic value is what is created from whatever business you have, whatever you have is what creates that value. And Pi, to look at Pi in its intrinsic value is what Pi is. And the value comes from us, the blockchain, the protocol, the dApps, the platform that we can use to trade Pi with. That all is value in Pi. What Pi can do, what the blockchain can do, what the protocol is doing. That's where Pi value comes from. It is what it is. And the more it's trusted, the more it's used, the stronger the economy gets and all that is all value creation for Pi. Okay? And I was explaining it in a different way, but that's where Pi value comes from. Now, what that value is worth, us as a community will set that value. Core cannot have anything to do with. Core can't come out and say, okay, Pi is going to be $5. Pi is going to be $10. They can't do it, and we can't expect it. No, They can't, because it would be illegal for them to do that. Because they are the ones that would benefit the most from whatever they put out. Even if it was true, accurate, and correct, they still would have an influence over it, and they can't do it. So for waiting for them to come out and say, hey, this is what pi value is going to be, they can't do it. Now, they've done it in other ways. If you picked up on it, when the in-app transfer pilot started, Core made the first transaction using pi to buy a web domain. And they used, I believe it was 10,000 pi. And I don't think a lot of people picked up on it. I mean, we had our own thing going. We had things figured out as a community where we had our own thing going. And part of this weren't that far off from where Core was. And they couldn't come out and say what they gave for the site, or they couldn't come out and say what they spent. They could say they spent 10,000 pi, but that's as far as they could go. Well, luckily, I mean, I feel lucky and fortunate. One night I was sitting in chat when the guy that came in, that sold them the website, came in. Now, I don't know whether he let it slip or he put it out. I don't know, but I got a price on them. I got a price on that domain. Yeah, and it came out. Core spent $15 a pi for that domain. Part of the pilots were at 10. Part of them were too low. They were real low. Okay? So, in a sense, Core put out what they thought, what they felt it was at that point in time. But I don't think many picked up on it. Okay, so you also have to pick up on the subtleties that are being put out. And since that time, the in-app transfer pilot got closed. Nobody else could get into it and whatever. But there are economies that have started from it, and there's been a lot of I don't want to say, yeah, not bad blood, just disagreements on how and what things should be. So there are tradable value, unofficial. Everything going on outside of pi right now is unofficial, but they are happening, and there are values that are supported and have transactions backing up that value. If use the intrinsic model, if you use the intrinsic model that is set. Now, remember, both of these models have come from the stock exchange, filtered into crypto, and then tweaked whatever to make it for crypto. But if you take that intrinsic model, it goes off of value first, and it has nothing to do with price. Off the intrinsic value model has nothing to do with price on the exchange. What the intrinsic value is, it sets a value for the product that is being put out. In this case, pi. So somewhere, I don't know how they calculate all of this value creation that is being created from pi. I don't know how that gets calculated into a number. Then the second part of it is whatever that value is, then whatever it's trading for goes in, gets plugged in, and if it's trading lower than what the value is, you go one way. If it's trading higher than the value is, you go another way. Like, if it's lower, it's time to invest. If it's higher, it's time to get out. It's kind of from an investment standpoint. But Pi's not looking to be an investment. It's not looking to be an investment, tradable investment asset. Okay. Pi is looking to be the money. So, what we're looking for as a community is, what does all of this value creation that is being created and created? What is that value? What's the number on that value? That's what Pi needs. But at the same time, there are other factors that need to be taken into account when that initial starting value is started. When that initial start value is put out, there are other factors that need to be taken into consideration and account to make sure that value is high enough. And the biggest The biggest factor that I've come to understand or learn is, I mean, right now everybody is focused on exchange. You plug the total supply, you plug it in, and you come out with a number, and that's what the exchange starts at. And I don't know of any project that started out under or started out over $1. I don't think there's any. Most of them are down under a dime or something, under 20 cents or whatever. Is where exchanges start. If pie starts at that value or at that price, pie will not survive. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. And I mean, people that know me and have seen me, they know my position on what I believe pie value should be. But until the community decides, I mean, as a mod, I don't want to be putting that out because, no, I don't. Well, he said. No, you guys make up your mind, do your own thing, okay? But what needs to be taken into account, whatever number that they come up with as a value number for pie, as a whole, because pie is its own ecosystem, looking to stand on its own. Everything else out there is propped up by the dollar. They're all chasing the dollar. They're all being sold for dollars. Pie is not looking, no, pie doesn't want to be tied. It doesn't need to be tied. It's its own self-sufficient bubble. I look at the ecosystem as a bubble that contains pie. And starting out isn't going to reach, to this place. We need to start pie out in our bubble. We need to be in that bubble to get pie moving, started, and do what it's supposed to do, and get it strong. So, if we're doing that inside, and we're moving pie around and getting the economy going, and doing what we're doing, trading goods and services, pie's moving, whatever, the only thing pie value can do is increase. That's all it can do. When it has a track record and when it has a provable history of how solid it is, that's when it's time to reach outside the bubble, in my opinion. One of the biggest factors that you need to keep in mind when we're looking at value of pie is who can use it and how well can they use it. By that I mean any new pioneers coming in now, today, any new pioneers that join today, with whatever this value is, are they able to use their pie? Because they're only going to have one or two pie. Are they able to use their pie and not get wiped out in the process to be able to buy what I don't even want to go to the wants, to be able to buy what they need? We all need to be able to buy what we need. Yes, wants will come. Bottom line is being able to provide what we need to survive another day, that we don't have to worry about surviving another day. That's pie's goal. Pie's goal is to raise the standard of living for everybody inside the community. So if they can buy, the last pioneer coming in, last group of pioneers coming in, can use their pie to buy stuff, not wipe their stack out, and they're wanting to use pie. That's where pie needs to be to succeed. When people are in the mindset of wanting to use pie, that's where pie needs to be. Just like anybody, how we spend our dollars today, how we spend money today, we don't think about it. We know we got it in our pocket. We know we need to go get something. We go get it. I mean, if we have enough money in the pocket, we go get it. But we don't think about it. Yes, we think about budgets and all this and how to pay all the bills and all this. Okay, but we don't think about the money. The money is. If I need gas in the car, I pull over to the gas station, and if I have enough, I go buy gasoline, or I buy a soda, or I don't think about it. I don't think about the money. I don't think what's behind. I just know it is, and I want to, and I use it. I want to use it. That's the level pie needs to get to. So when looking at value, also have to take into account the bigger pie gets, the more pioneers that join pie. I don't know. I tried to explain this. Okay. Now, pie is not a pyramid scheme. There's no up-down line. No, it's not a pyramid scheme. But the structure of pie is a pyramid. When Pi launched, there were 1,000 people. That's where Pi started, 1,000 people. And it had 1,000 people. Then it went to 10,000. And it halved again. Went to 100,000. Halved again. Went to, oh shit, I forgot where, a million. A million? 100,000 a million? That sound right? Yeah, that sounds right. 100,000 to a million, and it halved again. And then we just halved at 10 million. So it steps, the wider it gets to the base, it steps out. But with each halving means pioneers coming in at that point, and we all have together. No matter when you join, whatever it is, when we hit a halving, we all have together go to the next level, and we're all earning. You people and old people, we're all earning the same amount of Pi. We're all earning the same base rate. We're earning the same thing per invite. We're all learning the same. So we are at the same level as far as earning goes as we drop down the levels. But as we drop down the levels, the base gets bigger. The base gets bigger, the less Pi that base is making, the less Pi they're having coming in. Okay, so when we're sitting and thinking about, most people think about people that were here early and how much Pi they have and how rich they're going to be and how rich. Okay, that has nothing to do with Pi value. It has nothing to do with Pi value. And granted, whatever that value is, you see, what they don't stop to realize, whatever that value is, yes, it makes them wealthy on paper. It only makes them wealthy using it inside of Pi at this point. Because out on the exchange, we haven't got to exchange price yet. Now, once Pi goes live, the exchanges will have a number out on the exchange because the numbers will be official. They'll be real. They'll have something to use. They will come up with a price on exchanges. They will. Guaranteed. And it won't be anything near what the value is inside of Pi. Take that one to the bank. I can guarantee it. I can guarantee it. Because the way exchanges figure price, it'll be under $1. Where all these traders have been putting out that Pi will be, 40 cents, 50 cents, $1, $2. That's where Pi will start on the exchanges. Now, if you believe it, don't believe what they're telling you to do with it. Don't believe what they're telling you to do with it. Because if you believe what they're telling you to do with it, you just gave your money away. Any profit that you would make, you've just given it to them. That's all they're looking for. They're looking for people to do what they're telling them to do. Because they already know what true value is. So let's say, this is just an example. Say Pi value sets at $25. That's what, it's us that will set that. The people selling goods, people buying goods will set that. Okay? So, say we're at $25 and the exchange opens for $1. And people just rush off and sell it for $1. You've given up $24 worth of value. Yeah. And you sold for $1, they bought for $1. There's going to be fees involved and all that other, so you're not going to get $1 per Pi. You're going to get whatever minus fees or whatever. So it might be 80 cents by the time you get all said and done. So you sold that for $1. They bought it for $1. They just made $24 off of each dollar that they bought. Each Pi they bought, they just made $24 in value off of each Pi they bought. You just lost $24 in value off of each Pi you sold. That's all they want, man. That's all they want. And I'm not putting this out to disillusion anybody or whatever. It's real. This ain't no game. This is real. These people are out for money. They're greedy. They're sharks. They're vultures. They don't care about anybody else but themselves. Okay? I don't care how they sugarcoat it or how they do whatever. Yeah. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. They're looking to prey on the unsuspecting and unknowing. Yeah. And we're getting to a point. We're getting to a point. I don't know what, I mean, I've been saying this for 2 years. People that are thinking that that's the way crypto is and the way it needs to go, and that's what they need to do, are giving up. They are giving up their money. And what the bad part is, when people do that, they're taking money out of my pocket and everybody else in the community. Because if we have a value set, that's value. Buying power is value. It's not price. Price, value. If people don't believe this and use this in here, then whatever we have in here, gained in here, we've lost giving it to the exchanges. Yeah. And all that does is cut the feet out from anybody selling stuff. It wipes them out. Because if it's $1 and somebody has one pie, they can't use it. And most likely, if you only have one pie, they're not going to let you sell it on the exchange anyway. There's probably a minimum trade amount. Okay, so don't buy in. Don't. Now, if you were in any other project, if you were in any other crypto, any other coming up, that's the way to go. Listen to them. That is the way it is. Just be on the buying side when it first happens. Okay? Because that is how crypto works. It's not how Pi works. And that's where most people get it wrong. That's where most get it wrong. And see, because the bottom line is when we set Pi value, it's what somebody is willing, what I'm willing to sell this jug of tea at. Okay? And if I say I'm going to value Pi at $5. So, I'm going to sell this for $1 or whatever, $2 or whatever. I mean, I'll do the calculation. So in Pi, I get $2 worth of Pi from the $5 value. That's how much Pi you'll give me for that jug of tea. And if you accept that value, and we make the trade, then that's the value of Pi. Starting out, it's not rocket science. It's not complicated. It doesn't need to be complicated starting out. It just needs to be right. Because that's what Core is giving us back. That's what Pi is giving us back. Our say, our freedom, our control over our finance for the future. That's what Pi's giving back. That's what Pi's looking to take back. Because it's all been taken. It's all been given away. It's all because we don't have that no more. I mean, we've never really had it, but we have less now than we had even 50 years ago. Yeah. I know most people don't believe what I say. Most people think I'm full of caca, but most people haven't come to understand Pi. And I didn't come to this on my own. Trust me. This isn't me. This is me just being a voice piece for what I've learned. And I've learned it from many, many people that have a lot of experience, that understand a lot more than I do. All I am is a mouthpiece. Passing on what I know, what I've learned. And and we're just talking starting out. Just starting out. That's not, once Pi is started and out on the market will take over. The market will take over, and Pi will float with the market. It will adjust with the market and whatever. It will. It's got to. It can't do anything but. It's on the market. But because Core and Pi have given us some control and some freedom and whatever, and some power, I am a control freak by nature. I really am. And when I first got to Pi, I was a bowl in a china shop. Oh yeah, I knocked things over and wiped things out and whatever because I wanted to answer his questions. And coming to realize and understand what Pi is and what it's bringing back, what it's giving back, what Core is giving back to us, is real. And I like it. I want that. I want that power back. I want... You control the money, you control the power. We control the money. We control the power of this community. And if we can control our own, that means we step out from underneath the control of the others. Yeah, that's what... Now, I'm not saying that Pi is going to be bigger than them and take them over and whatever it is. Pi will coexist with whatever system is in place. And I mean, they're going digital as well. Pi will coexist with them. We will coexist with them. But the difference is, when they say jump, we don't have to say how high. If we want to jump, we jump. If we don't want to jump, we don't have to jump. And that's for everybody in the Pi community. No matter where you're at in this world, it affects all of us in the Pi community. I don't care what, third world, first world, second world, I don't care where you're from. It affects all of us in the community. We are all on the level of financial field. And having a say over our own financial field. I'm not saying that right now, because we live in a fake society, that we will have to interact and we will have to trade for fake and we will have to do all... It's all part of. But starting out, no. I mean, starting out, we have control over what's going to happen when we first go on the market. Because, right, the exchange has Pi for $1. We have Pi for $25. The community, the pioneers in the community, are the only holders of Pi. When Pi goes live, we are the only holders of Pi. There is no Pi out on the open market. There is no Pi to trade on the exchanges. Even if the exchanges list Pi, there is no Pi on the exchanges because we hold it. The only way it's going to get to the exchanges if we decide to sell it. And anybody that decides to sell it at the exchange price, God help them. God help them. I mean, 1 or 2 trades isn't going to be much because there's not going to be enough Pi out there to deal with it. Okay? Because now when people start talking supply and demand, that's where supply and demand is. Supply and demand isn't over here. Supply and demand is over here. We control the supply. They're already demanding it. There are people lined up waiting. There are people lined up waiting already to buy Pi at pennies to be part of the community. They're already out there. I mean, I hear them in chat. I hear people in chat, well, I don't do this mining thing. I'll just wait and buy it. I'll just wait and buy it. It's too boring. I'll just wait and buy it. I hear it all the time. Demand is already out there. People are waiting to buy Pi on the cheap to be part of the community. You want it, and then, now here's my attitude. Here's where I get a little testy, a little pissy. If you want to give up your profit to allow them to do that, go ahead. Been telling you for 2 years, don't do it. If you want to do it, do it. It's your loss. It's your loss. And a few people isn't going to be a big deal because they won't have enough. They won't have enough. Even whales won't have enough Pi to offset what's in the community. But if we have a $25 value on Pi, I'll sell you Pi. I'll sell, and I will even put it in the sell order. But I'm not selling it until it reaches $25. Yeah, you can do that too. You can put a sell order in for whatever amount you want, and when it reaches that amount, they'll sell it for you. Yeah, I'll put a sell order in for $25. When you're willing to pay $25, then you can buy my Pi. And trust me, it's a lot higher than that. It's a lot higher than that. I'm just using that as an example. And if us as a community all went, no, you can't have my Pi until it reaches what it's worth. You can't have my Pi until what it's worth. Then the exchange will come up. They have to. They can't do anything but. It may take a little time to get there, but what difference does it make? Because we're using our Pi in here. And they're seeing us use our Pi in here. Then you talk about people, especially in this time in society. If people want something, and they can't get it, they get pissy, man. If they can't get it, they work themselves into a frenzy. Wanting, needing, having, gotta have. Well, that's automatic demand. That's what people from Bitcoin learned a long time ago. They can control the emotion. You control the money, you control the power, you control the emotion. It's a new world, folks. It's the world that they live in. We just became part on our own terms. We just became part of that. Do it our way. I mean, this is our community. This is our project. This is our money. This is. And if you look back, if you really take a look at society, I know I'm getting deep and I'm getting long, but that's the way I go. If you really look at society, and anybody that is up in my age bracket, well, they're probably already shaking their head because they already know. What I had growing up in the 60s is nowhere near what we have today. Nowhere near. Nowhere near. And what's happened is, over time, slowly giving it away. Just slowly giving it away. And the point I'm to now is I had no choice in somebody giving my rights and freedoms away, giving my money away. I had no choice in it. I had no choice in it. Whatever they decided to take, I had no choice. They took it. Yeah. Bitcoin should have done. Bitcoin has some flaws. All Core did, and all Pi is doing, is Bitcoin reached a certain point, a certain level, and went off in a different direction. And basically Bitcoin's been out on the market 12 years, 13 years. And it's at the level that it is. And it's big. I'm not saying it's not big. And I'm not saying it doesn't reach all over the place. But it's not as big as what people think it is. It doesn't have the power, and it doesn't have the juice that it should have. It doesn't. Because it got stopped and stunted short. All Pi's looking to do is get to where Bitcoin stopped and take the next step. If that be the case, that's how I put it together. Right? If Pi's not if Pi's not in competition with anything, not in competition with Bitcoin, very grateful for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin and everything that's come before it has leveled the road to that point. Now, my thinking is, all right, if Pi is looking to take the next step, why do all of these people want Pi to start back at the beginning? Why? Pi has no reason to start at the beginning. It's already surpassed any project that is already out there. Pi has already surpassed in many, 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 many ways. Many ways. Just all you gotta do is look at it. Community, platform, protocol, decentralization, all of it has surpassed anything that's out there today. Why do we want to start at the beginning? We don't need to start at the beginning. We need to start where they stopped. I'm not saying price and value and whatever. Pi will never. If you're expecting Pi to reach tens of thousands, 20,000s of dollars, Pi will never reach there. Who knows? Pi may never even reach $1,000. I don't know. Because it's not meant to. Because it's the money. It will have substantial value to increase or raise our standard of living for everybody around the world inside the Pi community. You just have to think about what that truly means. Especially in second and third world countries. Now, us in first world countries, we may not get as much benefit. I don't care. As long as I'm taken care of, I don't care. As long as I don't have to worry about my needs every day, I don't care. All I need is to take care of me today. And I know it will go bigger now. I'm just getting the baseline. But second, third world countries, raise them to a first world country. Raise their standard of living to a first world country. That's who benefits. That's who will benefit the most from Pi. I'm going to benefit. I know I'm going to benefit. I'm not worried about my benefit. And it's going to be a kick watching these people come up and have some freedom and have some whatever. something they've never known. That's what pie is about. Creating and making us all level. So if pie is doing that, why do we need to start at the beginning? We start where, that's what I say, that's where pie value needs to be. And another thing to keep in mind is when that value gets set, and it just needs to be minimum, so everybody in pie can use their pie and not get wiped out. They can use their pie today, still have a little bit of pie left for tomorrow. Is kind of the thinking that most of us that are in. Okay, we set pie at that level, and there will be a lot of probably disagreement and discussion, argument, whatever about when we get to that point. And no matter where pie value starts, it will reach a point to the point I'm talking about now. It will reach a level to where everybody can use their pie today and still have a little bit of pie left for tomorrow. And then we'll get a little bit of pie from the protocol tomorrow. Yes, mining won't stop. Pie is allocated out to 100 million people. That's where the allocation pool stops. So when we reach 100 million, that's where the allocation pool stops for pie. Mining will go to 1 billion people. It will be low, but it will go to 1 billion people. Guaranteed. I mean, I know it says to be determined. Guaranteed. It'll go to 1 billion people. It needs to. It has to. For pie to be what it should be, it has to. And core, ever since the 100,000 halving, to be determined has been on every halving since. Every halving since. And yeah, watching the circus that goes on when those halvings come up, the first one got me. I'm not going to argue. It was a little bit, oh man. But after we went through that first one and watching the circus that went on and watching the circus that goes on around every halving, man. Now, I'll guarantee it'll go to 1 billion, but don't put money on my guarantee because core could change it. They have left that option open. They have left that option open in case it needs to be changed for some reason. But I'll guarantee it'll go to 1 billion. Just don't put my money on my guarantee. Okay. So if we're looking to get to where they're at, to start where they're at, and knowing, if you understand, knowing that it will get to that point, it has to get to that point to be really usable, functional, whatever it is. And here's where, I know I'm going long, here's where the conflict comes in what's going on right now. Okay. And I believe, now this is my opinion from what I've seen, and I'll end it right here. Pie, I don't believe pie came together the way it should have to get to this point. I think it was meant to travel another road to get to this point. And by that I mean the in-app transfer pilot, when it started, all of the pilots signed an agreement that we can't sell pie for fate, we can't sell it for cash, we can't do whatever. Sign contracts. And if a sale of pie has happened, or possibly, if the sale of pie has happened for cash, you will be gone. It'll show up. It will show up. Yeah, guaranteed. It will show up somewhere. And if you got away with it and think you got away with it, okay. But it's going to cost you in the long run. And it'll cost both parties in the long run. Yeah. And what has really happened is whoever paid for the pie just got scammed. You just got scammed. Guaranteed. You just got scammed. Because nobody has anything to sell. Now, if you did buy some other pie that you got from someplace else and put it in some kind of wallet, that's on you. But it won't be honored in this project. No, it probably came from some copycat or some whatever. But you got scammed. You got scammed for this project. Anything that has been collected pie that won't be accepted in this project. Wherever it trades and whatever, yeah, you may still have, you may have value, you may whatever, but it won't be accepted here. Because at that point, you didn't buy this pie. No, you bought that pie. That's a legitimate deal. A legitimate deal. But if you think it's going to be used here, it's not going to be used here. Okay? Now, if somebody sold test pie or who's going to guarantee you that they'll send you pie, or yeah, a pilot wouldn't do it. Pilots are the only ones that can actually transfer pie. But if somebody, okay, we have no pie to sell. They scammed. If you sent somebody money, they scammed you. If you made a deal that you're going to send somebody money, you're getting scammed. Yeah, okay, they can't happen. And CORE has the right, legal right, to freeze your account, to kick you out of pie, legally. Mm-hmm. Because right now, until CORE writes the Genesis block of Pi official blockchain, we have nothing to sell. If you're trying to sell something you don't have, they call it fraud. They put you in jail. Yeah. Yeah. That's why we can't sell it. We have nothing. Until CORE honors our accounts, we have no pie. None. Zero. So there's no way to sell anything. And test pie is test pie. Yes, we can transfer it. And if you've sold test pie, I know your ass is gone. There ain't you're gone. You are gone. You will be gone. Nice knowing you. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Guaranteed. Yeah, you can take that one to the bank. Bet on that one. You're gone. Because it's not allowed. I mean, it's not allowed. It's not, legally, it's not acceptable. Legally, we can't do it. Because we can do it, it doesn't mean we have to do it. Yeah, you're gone. And I don't know. Of course, it depends on the mood. If I were CORE, it depends on the mood of CORE, I'd be throwing a whole bunch of people in jail, man. Yeah. Because, anyway. So, I lost where I was going with it, folks. When I get to those points, when I see people, I know people have done it, and I hear people have done it, and I've reported a lot of people for doing it, because all the legal stuff that happens in Pi, that comes down in Pi, whatever happens in Pi, doesn't fall on us. We pack our bags and go somewhere else. It all falls on CORE. It all falls on CORE. They are the bottom line responsible. It's their project. They have paid and funded. It's all on them. It's all on them. Getting back to the in-app transfer pilot. After they signed agreements that they could not sell Pi, a couple of people went ahead and sold Pi, or tried to sell Pi. They tried to turn it into gift cards. Tried to do something to get around. And these were people that we picked, that CORE chose to be pilots. We all got to submit 3 people that we believed would make good pilots for the in-app transfer pilot. So we sent the list. CORE made the final decision on the pilot, and a couple of them went rogue. Figured they knew more than everybody else. Figured they tried. Well, as soon as they tried to turn Pi into cash, and gift cards are cash. Anything you can use as legal tender to buy something is cash. Fate, cash, currency, that's what it is. Whether it's gift cards, whatever, preloaded credit cards, any of that. When they tried to do that, almost shut this project down. Yeah, I don't know what happened to them. I know they got their accounts frozen, they got kicked out and all this other stuff. But what it did is it shut the in-app transfer pilot down. So the pilot couldn't expand and couldn't grow as the community expanded and grew. Okay. So I think, this is just my opinion, with the in-app transfer pilot that closed, the pilots that were in it, they've been doing their job. They have gotten economies started. Even though they're unofficial value and all that other stuff, they did their job. There are small economies that are outside of Pi. All unofficial, we can't talk about them in the app. And if you find them, be careful, research which one you get into and whatever. There are a few of them out there. And they are moving in Pi. And a lot of people don't understand the setups on some of them. Some of them are they're in a gray area that everybody involved in that economy could be booted from Pi when it comes time to honor accounts. So you need to be real careful what you do outside the app. But I'm not going to tell you that they're not out there, because they are. And we can't talk about it. As mod, I can't talk about it, and we can't talk about it in chat. And I understand from CORE's point, because if people know they're all going to run out there and they won't be in the app and all this other garbage. But the problem is people aren't seeing what's happening. They don't know what's really going on, and there's a lot of issue with what's going on, and people don't believe in whatever it is. But it is what it is. And there are economies out there. Right now, from what I know, the lowest economy out there is using pie at $10 a pie for goods and services. The highest one I know is $100 using for goods and services. Okay. Now, there's at least one in between. There's I think around 25 using $25 for buying goods and services. I think there's a couple of I don't know. There's a few others, little ones that have popped up, and I'm not sure what their values are or what they have, values they have attached to pie to make transactions. Okay. Now, I don't know what the value in-house pie is going to start at or where it's going to be. I don't know. I haven't heard, and I don't know how they're going to figure it. I do know how they came up with the unofficial values outside of pie. I was part of most of them, being a part of setting those values. And this is what I say: you have to keep into mind what that value is, who can use it, and for how long they are able. I mean, how much with the pie they have, how much can they use? You have a little bit today, and you still have a little bit tomorrow. That is the bottom factor. Whatever value is set, bottom line, and whatever that value is, pie can support it. Yeah, it's not going to be 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever. No, realistically, if you stay in a real, yeah, okay. If you keep it real, pie, can support it. And if it's reasonable, pie can support a little more than that. If you look at the value of pie and if you look at what pie is bringing to the table, and you look at what it needs to do what it needs to do, that's where we need to start. Just make the next step, so we don't have to go through 3, 4, 5, 6 years of getting to that point. We are already to that point. Then we can grow 5, 6 years. I mean, giving pie 5 or 6 years, starting where it should start. Oh yeah. It will be a new day, at least for us. Yeah, it will, guaranteed. That I will guarantee. If we start where it should start, give pie 12 years growth like Bitcoin has, it will be a new world. It will be a different world. Yeah, guaranteed. A couple of years. I mean, pie needs to get going. Needs to build some history, provable history. Then to take the next big step, and that will, yeah, it will, if we choose to make it happen. And see, I don't care about the exchange, because the exchange will have to follow value. If we don't sell it and people want it, they will pay for it. They'll have to pay for it, or they won't get it. And it's not being selfish, greedy. No. If you didn't take the time to put in the work, to push the button, to earn the pie that we've earned, you shouldn't have the right to buy it and just walk into the community. You shouldn't, in my eyes. You didn't put in the work, man. This is our community. We all put in work to get here. Why should we let somebody just walk in for nothing? To me, that's just not, okay? So, instead of price, value following price, we can turn around. And price is going to follow value. And when those two match, that is true value of the currency. That is true value. And the market will take over from there. It will. And pie will not have the volatility that these other coins will, or whatever. So, pie's a long-term investment. I mean, if you're going to invest in pie, it's going to be a long-term deal. I mean, you're going to invest in pie and you're not going to see a whole lot. I mean, you're not going to see the returns that you're seeing in crypto today in pie. It may take you 10, 15 years to see some of those kind of returns. But it will return. There's not a doubt in my mind that it will. Because as pie grows, we grow, the whole thing grows, value continues to increase. And, I mean, I could probably talk another hour on the way Core is set up pie. That's why the pie supply needs to be as big as it is. That's why it needs to mine out to 1 billion people. Because as we grow, as the community grows, as our reach grows, we need the currency to be able to do that. If you cut the currency off and you start burning currency and you live on, it's got to be scarce. It's got to be scarce. No, not for pie. Out there, yes. For pie, no. Because if we don't have the currency to make the reach that we want to make, I mean, everybody's talking about going public and having it mass adopted and being used in convenience stores or wherever we're at. To do that, we need more pie. Guaranteed. And I know they can divide it out 10 places on. Us old people, us old folks, I'm good at 2 places. I can deal with 4. You take me out 10, I don't have no idea about 10 places. When I look at something, it says $1.30 or $1.25. I understand $1.25. When I go in and I look at something that says .00, whatever it is, it's a number, I have no clue what that means. Now, younger people may, because that's what you're being brought up. Us old folks, I don't know. I don't even want to deal with it. Okay? So, to make that kind of mass adoption and reach, I don't know whether actual pie supply is big enough. I really don't. And it's not about being serious, because it's just, okay, being inside the community, dealing with the community, yes, we have enough pie to do what we need to do in our ecosystem, in our economy, and the little reach outside. But the reach people are talking, personally, I don't know. That's just my own personal opinion. I don't know whether pie supply is big enough. Yeah. And I know people will argue with me and all this. Okay. Pie is not set by the same markers that we use today. Yeah. All you have to do, I mean, once you see it and understand it, it's on the community. Value price is on the community. The bottom line is, can the last group of pioneers coming in use their pie, be able to spend their pie, want to spend their pie, and not wipe them out in one transaction? That's where value needs to be. Then, once we come to an agreement on that, people that are selling goods, if they're good with that value, and they're willing to sell their goods at that value, then that's just starting to send it home. The nail in the coffin is, if they're selling their goods at that value, and us as pioneers are willing to pay that value for that item, we're willing to give that amount of pie for that item, that is pie value. Bottom line. I don't care what anybody tells you. You don't have to believe me either. Do your own research. But I don't care what anybody tells you out there. That's as easy as it is getting started. Everybody can use their pie. They're willing to sell at it. I'm willing to pay for it. That is pie. Bottom line value. That it doesn't have to be complicated starting out. There's no reason for it to be complicated starting out. Where it starts to get complicated, well, there's 2 reasons. Once pie goes live, and the bigger it gets, and all the other facets come into play. Yes, it starts to get a little more complicated, a little more, and if you're starting to deal with other communities and whatever, it gets a little more complicated and whatever. Complication comes from lawyers today. The more complicated a contract is, the more loopholes there are in it to get around it. It's all written by lawyers. They understand, they know it, and they know, and that's what money's the same way. The more complicated it is, the more loopholes there are to do whatever you want to do with it, whatever they want to do with it. I'm not saying it's not going to be complicated, because there are. We will have economics that come into play, and supply and demand and all that. We'll come in, but it might come in at a different angle or a different perspective. Where what we have to watch for in pie is the same things that are destroying the economy and governments and everything else today. Selfishness, greed, and lack of caring for each other. That's what's killing today. That is what's killing today. And they are promoting that today. And people are conditioned to that today. I watched it for 2 years. I mean, I've seen it before, but I didn't pay any attention to it because it didn't affect me. So I didn't care what anybody was doing on the outside. As long as you left me alone, I didn't care. being in pie and the passion I have for pie and the passion I really do have for people, sitting and watching it over the last 2 years, yeah, that's all it's come down to. Selfishness, greed, and lack of caring for each other. I mean, that's how I see it. So as long as that stays out, or we keep that out, or we do it, as long as we can keep that away from, pie should be all right. I do. I believe pie should be all right. We should be all right. And we need to be. Now I look. If when we get there, if we get there, whatever. Once pie is live, and then we're trading and moving and whatever, give us some time. It's going to take time to get established and get going because we're just starting out. But we don't need to overcomplicate things. There's no reason to overcomplicate it. It's like, the simpler it is, the more truth it has to it. And I know I will get a lot of argument from a lot of people that no, I know. Come on. Okay. It doesn't have to be complicated. It really doesn't. And it will become complicated because there's other factors that come in and play and hold it, maintain it, and keep it growing and stuff like that. I'm not arguing that. But starting out, that's all it needs to be. And I can't prove it. I can't prove it. But at this point, we're too close. We're too close to get in the middle because it will be a battle. It will. And I don't want that. I don't want that going on. But I do know for a fact that there is a value set that works and has a couple of thousand transactions backing it up. And it's small and it's meaningless and whatever, but it's what they're working with, what they have to work with. So that's as far as I want to go on that. And I know I talked too long again, but that's who I am. I just go and when I get going, I get going. And I hope that answers questions and helps understand pie a little better, where pie goal is, what we need to do as a community, as an individual, and hopefully shed some light on when we see this through and get it to the end, where we benefit. Where we benefit. Most people look at benefit taking this coin, taking it to exchange, and exchanging it for money that they can use. Even if it's pennies, money they can use. Pie is looking to bring more to us than just that. Pie is looking to bring more to us. Pie is looking to give us more than just that. And understanding that we are on the ground floor, ground level, ground whatever, people today will be the wealthiest tomorrow. Same thing that's happened, and I can only view from the United States because that's really all I know. I mean, I know a little bit about other countries and stuff, but the United States is where I live, where I was brought up, where I know. The history that I have learned and whatever. If you go back to the turn of the century, 1900s, when the Industrial Revolution was just coming about, the men and women that are the wealthy and the powerful today started from nothing back then. Nothing. Most of them started in mud huts and scrambling. Okay, people didn't have money, whatever it was. I mean, people were broke. I mean, they were just living to survive. I mean, just getting to survive from day to day. But the wealthy and the powerful of today, we are in that same position they were back then. So anybody that sees it, whatever, and it's starting at the ground level, no matter what your business is or whatever it is, you will grow. You will grow your brand. You will grow a clientele. You will expand. It's the same thing. Because right now there's no foot traffic, there's no whatever. But as pie keeps growing and expanding, keeps moving. If you open a shop today and struggling to get by and whatever it is, and you have a product, something that somebody wants, a solution to a problem that somebody has, you have the answer to. And right now, yeah, and you get your brand on, you do business the right way, and keep everything on the board. Okay. You will, in time, you will have a business that will be successful. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Because the more moving around and the more, some businesses are going to take off right away because they have something that people are excited for them. Some businesses are going to take a while to build that reputation, to build the reputation, to build the clientele, but you will have a steady, loyal clientele that you will become world in the future. That's how they did it back then. Pennies, Woolworths, Sears, all those merchandise places, all started out in a mud shack somewhere and turned into what they are. Woolworths and all those. That's where we're at today. That is where, and I don't care what country you're in, that is where we're at today. Pie's bigger than a lot of people think, and it's not a game, and there's a lot at stake, and we only get one shot. All right, I know I talked way too long, but I hope that answers and enlightens a little more. So y'all have a good night, and I'm out. Later.